Because in order for me to be intimate with her, I must first be intimate with myself. And I'm denied that intimacy by my mother being stressed in the 3rd trimester.
Can I ask you a question, a quick question?
A quick question, no 3 parts.
Yeah, so in terms of the 3rd trimester, so I was looking at, because this is South African.
In terms of the 3rd, they don't hear you, I'm repeating. In terms of the 3rd trimester.
Mother being stressed.
Yes.
So during apartheid, his parents left South Africa and they came to England. They had
A child was abandoned.
several children. No, they had 6 children. 1 died, but 5.
But this child was abandoned.
No, they weren't abandoned.
Was their mother and father with them at all times?
So, no, they weren't. The father wasn't with them all the time.
That's abandoned.
But 3 of them passed away. So he's had 4 siblings die, and 2 are alive.
See, this is going longer. Remember, she said that's 1 question. As she gone into 3 generations, that's 1 question.
So, but also his cousin, it's the same statistics. And we were trying to work out how it is that, so many siblings in one family would pass away. Well, the question is could it be linked to the fact that the stress they would have gone through during apartheid?
That's physiologically correct. She's saying that there's certain things, a social situation that you're in can cause you to be in dire stress. It's an impact on your system, which we call imprinting forever. So in dire stress, you want to get out of it quick as possible, so you want quick burning energy, so you would have a tendency to eat sugar. You still what I'm saying? You're angry about it, so you have a tendency to eat salt and crunchy food, chips, crisps. All of this is reflected in your diet, which reflects the impact of how you experience life for the first time. That's what I'm trying to say. That's what you're saying. And you use abandonment. I use the term, it was rather harsh, but that's abandonment. And we like abandoned children. That culture has abandoned them. Superman was abandoned by his mother and father. Still follow me? Jesus was abandoned by his father. Why have you forsaken me? You remember on the cross thing? We like abandoned children. Cinderella, that heifer was abandoned. All of these children's stories are about abandoned children. And that's why we like them, because we've been abandoned by our culture. You're culturally homeless. Our culture's not here for us readily. We can't use an African ritual and ceremony of birthing out children in a hospital. You know that. We don't teach our children in the African system. You teach solar sciences when the sun is up high. Mathematics is taught then at noon, not in the morning. We don't even teach in African rhythmicity. I don't want to get you bored with all this science stuff. I'm going to talk about sugar in a minute. And salt in a minute, okay? I'm trying to say that we gotta be in charge of our whole living process. We gotta go back to breastfeeding, because breastfeeding is an extension of growth and development of the emotions. The baby's not always sucking on the breast for nourishment. The baby's sucking on the breast to find out the tension in the mother's breast when somebody calls her a bitch. You follow what I'm saying? It's an extension of intelligence. You looking at it as breast milk. No, the baby's learning. Babies don't suck the breast, first of all. That's what men do. I mean, no. Men suck. No, sorry, I didn't mean to go there. The babies chew the breast. It's physiologically impossible for them to suck the breast. They chew it, and there's an oil secreted so they won't bite the nipple too hard. That oil comes from the areola. The brown around the nipple secretes oil that lubricates the nipple so the nipple can slip in and out of the baby's mouth so they won't hurt the mother's nipple. Do you need a demonstration? Everything becomes clear when you apply science to it. But if you're just applying art to it, you won't understand it, because every art has a science. Dancing to you is art, but dancing is mathematics. Am I going too far with this? Every art has a science, every science has an art. And you have to see both of them to understand the subject matter. If I want to understand her, I have to see her father in her to understand her. If all I see is her mother, I'm only dealing with half of her life. You got to see that. You got to see the bipolarness in everything. Because everything is bipolar. High blood pressure, low blood pressure. Smart people, dumb people. Daytime, nighttime. Everything is bipolar. When someone says they have a bipolar illness, I don't know what the hell they're talking about. Because everything is bipolar. You are bipolar by definition. One pole is your mother, the other pole is your father. If you just see a woman and you just see her mother, what about her father? You're only loving half of her life. That's because we're into this chauvinistic system of history. You study history, you study men. You study religion, you study men. Are you still with me? Everything's so male-centered, you don't get it. You just don't get it. You're deprived of your whole understanding. Because you're looking at everything through a man's eyes, a man's perspective, you see? Men wore high heels, not women. Because they were rich and they wanted to stand above the peasants, so they wore high heels. That's why women wear high heels, because they want to dress up as as someone sexually challenged. Someone sexually challenged so that she could appeal to the Greek men, and you know Greeks were freaks. Right? I didn't mean it. I'm trying to be educated. That's what my grandmother called me. Because I was the first person to go to college, and this is ancient stuff. I come out of what you call segregation, which you would call apartheid. It was in South Africa. Colored fountain, white fountain. Colored pool, white pool. Colored. That's where I come from. That whole thing. I was not raised with a television. That's new stuff to me. We didn't have telephones. That's new stuff to me. My mother got a telephone, and I made a lot of money. I charged kids a nickel to come in and see my mother's telephone. It was clear. It was sitting there, they looking at it. That's the telephone. And they said, yeah. Nickel. The damn thing rang, and we got scared and ran out the room. I didn't mean to go there. I'm educated. Grandma said I'm educated. So we're just trying to separate the real from the real. Understand we're dealing with myths and superstitions of the European. That's all a science book is about. You go through the book, you say theory, this theory, that theory, that. You say, where's the damn facts? There's none. Lawyers are studying rituals and ceremonies. They're not studying the law. They just give it another name and fool you. That's all we're doing. A ritual is a set way of doing something. That's all. It's a set way. I say hello to you. You say hello to me. That's a greeting ritual. Now, if we add music to it and dancing, now it's a greeting ceremony. Those are the only two behaviors a human being can have. No matter how stupid you think the other animals are, they look at you and say, "Damn, well, you doing the same thing we doing. Move, move." You know, because all they're doing is rituals and ceremonies. And that's all you're doing, despite what you call it. And you have the audacity to think you know the whole subject with your arrogant European education. Arrogant we become when we get educated by them. And they tell you, I don't understand the whole subject, I only have a degree of understanding. They tell you that. I'm going to give you a bachelor's degree, I'm going to give you a master's degree, because they don't know the whole subject. They're telling you the facts. We're so sick, I want my master's degree, I want a master's degree. Negro, please. You're getting a degree of understanding. That's all you're getting. Not 360, just a degree. To educate yourself in this situation, you got to do it after you get out of school. You got to do it at home on your own, because you're not going to get it in an institution. Not at all. You go home and open that book. You go home, go on YouTube and see these great black people. Go home. That's when you get educated. You're not going to get it in their schools. Their schools were designed for them, and by them, and for them. I have a lot of, I'm not putting down that you got a master's degree from your master. Some of y'all even got a master bedroom. You're so sick. We all been miseducated. It's no big problem. I need to be structured. Where's my wife? I shouldn't be left unsupervised. Do I keep talking? Do I keep talking? Okay. I went to husband school. I flunked the first 2 times. Don't call it divorce or whatever. So, what we're trying to do is just look at things for what they are. And we understand dire stress decreases the blood to your digestive system. That's why black people have gastric reflux reaction, diseases of their pancreas and liver, because their digestive system deprived of nutrients in the blood because it decreased when they're in dire stress. That's why we have disease of the immune system. You can call it chikungunya, you can call it AIDS, you can call it whatever you want, because the immune system got decreased nourishment because the blood supply went down, so they got out of the crisis. That's why we have problems with the reproductive system, enlarged prostate, fibroid tumors, because under stress, the nourishment to the reproductive system is decreased, basically shut down. So that system will fall apart. That circulatory system, remember I said, was the kidneys, dialysis. If you look at the whole thing, you'll say, this race is in dire stress. That's just plain physiology. No miracle in it at all. We're in dire stress. That's what we are. But if you didn't know that, you wouldn't be trying to heal yourself. Now you know, now you can do something about it. You say, I'm getting ready to talk to a coconut. I better go to therapy. I better nourish myself. Because some people you talk to just drain you of energy. They're tiresome. I'm telling you. So you got to understand the emotionality. You either had emotional scar, emotional injury, or you're emotionally damaged. Damaged. You know, you have a relationship and you say, well, in a relationship, I did that and it didn't work. You get another relationship, you say, well, I did that and it didn't work. You're damaged. So you just don't do it no more. And the other person saying, you can do that with me, but since you're so damaged, you won't even try it. Emotional scar is what you would call today PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder. You heard that? That's just the effect of something that happened to you. I don't know why to use that big term. You can have post-traumatic ignorance disorder. You can have post-traumatic happiness disorder. The imprint is just on you of how you were happy. Oh, yeah, okay, thanks.
From your commander.
People write in hieroglyphics. I wish I knew what this was. Oh yes, I do have books. I write books. I got 9 books out there. One is the Revised African Holistic Health, which is now 700 pages. I wrote that book when I was 30. I'm 72 now. So I revised it. I have another book, Controlling and Understanding Black Children. I tell you what they should know when they're 1 month old, 2 months old, how to get rid of diaper rash, how to get rid of the child trying to cuss you out, how to know when your child is lying to you. I tell you the secrets of communication. You can tell when they lie. Not that your children will lie to you. That's a lie. I don't sell the book. My wife knows my book. Lord help me. Holistic self-diagnosing, where I teach you with pictures how to diagnose yourself with your tongue, your teeth, your hair, your fingernails, your toenails, your posture. Teach you all the ancient diagnosing systems. Per Ankh, that's when I teach you how we use math in a spiritual way. I go through African mathematics, but I disguise it as per Ankh, how to arrange your house, how to arrange your desk, how to arrange your altar, and how to heal yourself through the way you arrange your house. And I teach you what all the designs in this clothing means. The system of design, that's called per Ankh. Controlling and Understanding Black Children, Holistic Self-Diagnosing, African Holistic Health. No, this is something. Oh, pills that can kill. I go through the United States drug companies' own analysis of their drugs. And I go through all the ones that they say don't work. By their science, not me, their science of the drug companies. Tylenol does not work. They have proven that. What is happening is you just believe, and you believe so hardly that it works. Other than that, it doesn't work scientifically. I don't want to upset you. Whatever you're doing, keep doing it, and one day you'll just die. So the harsh reality is, we really just need to wake up to something. Some things you can accept and some things you can do. And I said I was going to talk about white sugar for a moment. A drug is an isolated substance. If I isolate the cocaine from the cocoa leaf, I have a drug. Still follow me? If I isolate the heroin from a poppy seed, I have a drug. It's an isolated substance. If I isolate the starch from a wheat berry, I have a drug. I am saying that flour is a drug by definition. I'm saying sugar is a drug by definition. I'm saying cocaine is a drug by definition. If I isolate the nutrients in a tobacco leaf by heating it up, which causes the vaporization, you know what I'm talking about? Now it's losing its vitamins and the minerals in the vapor. I've isolated the oil, taking it out of its tribe. Because when God made it, it was with oil, vitamins and minerals and all of that. Now you decide you're going to take it out. You isolated the substance, you're playing God. That's what you're doing. Now I have a drug called nicotine. If I isolate caffeine in a bean by roasting it, the vapor goes up, it takes away the vitamins and minerals and all. Now I've isolated. Now I have a drug called coffee. I'm going through all this stuff you think is food, telling you it's a drug, and you expect something to happen to you nicely. Bleach and salt do not combine in nature. Chlorine is a gas. It only combines when you dry out the seawater or Himalayan water, whatever the hell you're getting this sodium chloride from. It is a drug by definition. The problem is, are you eating food or are you eating a drug? Some people are isolated from their culture. You know what I'm talking about? A coconut. When you're isolated from your culture, you have become a drug to white people. Not personal white people. So we gotta say, if God didn't make it, I'm not gonna eat it. Simple. God did not make white sugar. You can't plant it in the ground and it'll grow. It's unnatural. So, that's a rock. Why are you going around eating rocks? Duh. I'm just saying, salt is already in grapes, oranges, apples. God put it there. Now, why you got to add salt to something? You are playing God, and you're going to pay for that. That's all I'm trying to say. Just ask yourself, did God make this Negro? Did God make Oprah? No, something. Then you just turn around and walk away from it. And some of us are addicted to bad relationships. And you know that. They always whip somebody that means them no good whatsoever. You ever met somebody like that? Some people are addicted to ugly people. All their friends are ugly. All of us have some kind of addiction, but we gotta accept where we are to improve where we are. But you're just going around with this fantasy. You know what I'm talking about? A fantasy, a theory, a myth. What is the greatest nation in the world? Imagination. And that's where all of us live. We live in our imagination. You gotta just face the reality. You're not that cute. You really aren't. You look like the unshaved ass of King Kong. Excuse me, I'm gonna get to this. Excuse me. Education. I didn't mean to say that. I was coming home from school and I was studying psychology because I was a psychotherapist. That's somebody who helps crazy people to be crazy. So I'm studying something. Oh, I was studying rape, right? So my grandmother, her mother was a slave. And she came out of slavery. She was 3 or 4 years old when slavery ended, so she came partially out of slavery. So her way of approaching life was different from how you approach it. So she asked me, what you taking in school? I said, psychology, Grandma. I'm studying how to help ladies who have been raped. She said, child, all we did was wipe ourselves off and keep walking. I'm saying to myself, damn, that's the kind of reality she had to go through what she was going through. But in my mind, I was going to say, Grandma, no. But I realized that that's what she needed to walk through what she walked through in her life. You see? You can't always grade people where you are. Because you see somebody drunk on the corner. You say, damn, he shouldn't be drunk on the corner like that. Well, last year he was a crackhead. That's upgrade. You got to know where people are coming from before you condemn them and stuff like that. You don't know where people are coming from, what they went through. So just be kind to people. That's what Lady Horn used to like to say. I used to get ticked off of her. You know, she said, just be kind to people. Damn. Stuff she went through. You heard of the Sammy Davis Jr. fellow? He was a dancer. A very good tap dancer. I'm telling you, he's one of the best. So anyway, he didn't learn how to read and write until he was 17. He joined them, he drafted in the military, correct? And he's weighing 105 pounds. So the white guys lined up and raped him, incidentally. So the sergeant saved him and taught him how to read and write. I'm just saying, but Sammy was, you never know it from talking to him. You never know. And I say, Sam, damn, man, what you tell people, you know, become a Malcolm X tap dancer. You know, he just, his heart was someplace. I tell you, you just don't know where people are coming from. You really don't. So sometimes you just have to be nice to people. Because if you upset the crazy people, they may bite you. When I worked in a criminally insane ward in prison, people were eating their own bowel movement, chewing their own arm and stuff like that. So I went to my supervisor, because I was tired of this, tired of people eating shit. So I said, can you give me some normal crazy people? I was sincere, but I was the only token black person on the staff, so he said, no, I can't release you. Okay, I'm back to the suicidal Samoans, whatever. So, right, supervisor me again. So I guess I'll stop, huh? I got 20 minutes. What a joy. I'm trying to let you know that in my personal life, I'm a quiet person. I don't talk a lot. My wife will tell you that I'm quiet. This is me working, but in my personal life, I don't talk. I don't even talk to myself. You know, I don't even talk to yourself. I need to do that. I don't even do that. I get tired of talking to myself. And so anyway, I didn't mean to bring it up. That's why I was asking what time. I'm not a talkative person. I've always been quiet. I'm telling you the truth. So nonetheless, we are trying to understand the real from the unreal, and understanding that we're following a lot of myths and superstitions of other people. We need to follow our own myths and our own superstitions. We have myths and beliefs, we have ma'at, we have our own stuff. You know, when I was coming up with, don't step on a line because that means your mother drink wine. I mean, we have. Oh, I have a book called Nutritional Destruction of Black People. And I go through a whole lot of stuff that we do that's wrong. I'm from South Carolina. I have superstitions. You know, that's where we do roots. I can shrink your dick. You know, I'm just saying we do things. So, in my book, The Gullah, I go through some rituals that we did in South on the islands. They came from Africa, to let you know it's a connection. So what I'm saying is, some things you do to me is like weird. I'm ready to boil some roots on you if I was back home. But we have to be clear that we can save ourselves, that we can uplift ourselves, and we can be a product of goodness. You are a success story. And all you have to do is use that success in you already. I write books, but books don't give you knowledge. Books help you exercise your knowledge. God gave you knowledge. And God gave you success. And I'm just saying, I'm just trying to help you exercise the success that you already have. You don't have to create it, just use it. Every skill, no matter how unimportant you think it is, has to be practiced. If you want to be good at soccer, you better practice. You'll be good at playing the piano, you better practice. You'll be good at dancing, you better be practicing. If you'll be good at stupid, practice. That's what I'm saying. People just don't jump up and be stupid, they've been practicing all their life. So just practice, the success is already built in you and you'll be just fine. Trust me. Oh yeah, I can do a Q&A. So I'm gonna close the lecture and do a question and answer. You've already did one. Yes. Yes.
Is it more important to heal physically or emotionally?
Is it more important to heal physically or emotionally?
First.
In physiology, emotions are physical. You have to have a physical body to be emotional. So in one way it's a nice question, another way it's not understanding physiology. As I said before, I don't have to ask you when you're angry. I can tell by your kidneys lighting up or your femur lighting up. I don't have to ask you because the charges in those sections of your body will fire off. It takes your whole body to be emotional. You can't be intellectual without emotion. They come together as a team. You come together as a bipolar team. Your mother and father merged in you. You can't be artistic without math. You can't be a dancer without math. It comes together. You're separating things that are not separated, is what I'm saying, because we were taught by people to separate things. Spirituality is at church. The mentality is at the psychiatrist. You see what I'm saying? It's separated. Our culture all is one thing. We don't separate nothing from God. Yeah.
Most people, they get to a certain age and they suffer some illness, whether it's serious or mild. There's one depletion, one illness, let's call it a depletion, that everybody seems to suffer from, or 90% of people, and that's our eyes. Why do we the majority of us seem to end up with bad eyesight at such an early age. What is it, and can it be reversed?
Yeah, I got the question. Everyone hear that? Why do we seem to have more problems with our eyes as we get older? Our eyes get bad, like they did something bad in school. The reason is that concentrates, as I mentioned, cocaine, heroin, remember I went through that? Concentrates pull moisture. So if you eat sugar, it's going to pull moisture. The body says, I have to make this back into sugar cane grass. So it pulls the moisture out of your nerves, out of your bones, out of your muscle. It robs your body. It's a starvation food, is what we call it. So sugar is the leading cause of blindness in the world because it pulls the moisture out of the nerves of the eyes, arteries of the eyes. You still following me here? Because concentrates rob your body of moisture. Because God didn't make sugar. God made sugar cane grass. So the body says, oh, wait a minute. I'm going to turn this back into sugar cane grass, then I'm going to metabolize it. What I'm saying is, God didn't make a raisin. God made grapes. So when you eat a grape, the body can put the water back into it. Are you still with me? The body can put the moisture back into the raisin, the vitamins back into it before it even metabolizes. Because God made grapes. God didn't make raisins. And the reason why sugar is the leading cause of blindness is because the nerves to the eyes are so small. They get damaged so quickly. The nerves to the ear are so small, they get damaged so quickly, so the child has to listen to loud music because they're losing their hearing.
So what about repairing the eyes?
He wants to know, what about repairing?
How do you go about repairing?
Yeah, I'm following. I got to repeat what you say for the audience. He wants to repair the eyes. First thing we do is repair that behavior. You got to change your lifestyle. You got to stop eating these concentrates, the sugar, the syrups, the honey, the molasses, the bleached white flour, the white rice. You got to get off the concentrate. But if you can't do that, then of course you can get a herb called eye bright. That's the name of it, eye bright. What I'm telling you is a lifestyle change, getting away from the concentrates. Yes.
Does the presence of melanin make you more susceptible to the damage from concentrates, or does it protect you from it?
Does the presence of melanin make you more susceptible to melanin?
To the damage from
To the damage, yes. Because the objective of melanin is like what people call it free radical. It goes after this substance and bonds to it. So it holds your addiction in law. If you change your behavior, it will release it, but other than that, it becomes your enemy. Should I stay on this side of the room, or should I go to that side?
I have a question.
Okay, the ladies take on this. Yes.
You said something really profound, and you said that sugar is linked to lack of ability to receive or
give love. Yeah.
That's really profound, and I've thought about all the diseases that are connected to sugar and how they afflict us as Abandonment people and black people. We need to fix that then, don't we? That's kind of what I'm thinking, you know, that issue around love, giving.
We can't love ourselves because we only love the image that they want us to love. Relaxed hair, you know that stuff. So, since we want more love, we eat it in the form of sugar. So if a lady's having a bad relationship, she may eat ice cream at night because she can't get the love from her husband, so she eats the love in the form of sugar. You're totally right. So this sugar causes less loss of moisture to the scalp, which causes 25-year-old boys to be bald. I'm just telling you what it goes to. It dries out the skin, so the women have to use more lotion. You know it causes cavities. I'm just saying, if you go through all the things that this sugar causes, you'll find that we cannot run the disease industry without sugar. Sugar is the leading cause of these damn diseases. Without sugar, nobody gets paid. Eye doctor, nobody. Bone loss, sugar. Cavity, sugar. Hyperactivity, special education for children, sugar. Without sugar, nobody gets paid. Oh yes, the lady with the baby.
Why was it planted after the first time?
Where was what?
Why was it planted, sugar?
They call that slavery. That's what we did. We harvested sugar cane. You know that. That's what we did. That's what we did in Trinidad. That's what we did in Barbados. Because sugar is a stimulant. It's a drug. And people like drugs, so like it. It's stimulating. Remember, these things were advertised as aphrodisiacs. Note the word Africa. So aphrodisiac means it makes you horny. Go. You heard of horny? They were originally advertised for the libido, as they call it today. Same with chocolate. Same with cocaine. You can't sell drugs without sex. You can't sell cars without sex. You can't sell clothes without sex. You can't sell movies without sex. You can't sell drugs without sex. That's what I'm trying to say. And every drug has a song. Every drug has a dance. When you're coming off of cocaine,
the sister here.
oh yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Fibroids are a common problem that black women have, and even after operations they can grow back. And I wanted to ask what you think, or
A question about fibroid tumors.
Treatment.
At least 67% of black women in the world have fibroid tumors. At least 67% of the black men in the world have enlarged prostate. The uterine fibroid tumors and the prostate are the same organ. That's what we have to understand. What's causing the decrease of nourishment to the reproductive system, which decreases the ability of the reproductive system to heal itself? What did you say?
Sugar.
Sugar. We're back to it again. Concentrate. We're back to it again. And the most sensitive part of your body is going to be the uterus. And anything that's going to harm the uterus, the body will react to it real quick. And it's going to isolate that waste by putting it in a bump so it won't spread all over the uterus. That's what a bump does. It isolates the spread of the waste so it won't spread all over the uterus. Yeah, but see, I got to go back into some fundamental things here. Because the brothers don't know the difference between the uterus and the vagina. Because we just call it all pussy. You usually just have sex with the woman's vagina. You don't get into her uterus whatsoever. And brothers, you know what I'm talking about? I got some of those here. You have a vagina and you have a uterus. Two different organs. But the uterus and the prostate are similar. Why do you have a prostate? The prostate's like a washing machine. It mixes the semen with the sperm with the prostatic fluid. It mixes it all together. That's why it contracts like that. It's just mixing things together. Brothers don't know why they have a prostate. Most of them don't know where it is. You know what I mean? They try to buy a condom for it. So what we're trying to do is shrink the fibroid tumor with herbs like witch hazel. Heard of that?
Yeah.
Alum root, sometimes called crane's bill. Shepherd's purse. Are you writing this down?
Could I
I'm trying to help her write it. She asked the question, so yeah, so I'm gonna repeat it for her. Okay?
Could you repeat those?
Yes.
Yeah.
Witch hazel, alum root, which is sometimes called crane's bill, shepherd's purse, like a shepherd in a field in the purse, and another one called horse tail, which will dissolve the tumor. The other one shrink, and horse tail dissolves. Yeah. You take that in tea, a tablet, and some severe cases I use suppositories. Am I finished with this side or on the side? Oh yes, yeah.
Is the regular release of semen
He wants to know, can he stop being a player? talking about the excessive ejaculation. One ejaculation is equivalent to running 20 miles. So, if you're having one ejaculation and you running, you're all right. But if you're doing 3 or 4, and you're not eating enough nourishment to carry you these extra miles, you're going to damage your. Does everyone follow what I'm saying? If you're a chess player, you got to eat differently from a wrestler. That's what I'm trying to say. And they're not eating a diet to nourish the semen. Keep in mind that men are pregnant every month. That's what you have to understand. They're always making sperm. Like, this is too difficult here. If you're always knocked up, they have to be more meticulous with their diet than women because they're always pregnant with sperm. Sperm is made in the testicles and stored in a tissue sac called the epididymis. Epididymis is where the sperm is stored till it matures. So a baby is stored in the uterus until it matures. You still with me? So technically, he's pregnant every month. That's why he has mood swings. But you're not calling it mood swings, you call it watching soccer. That's when it gets really emotional. Oh, what happened to my team? See, we hide our emotionality in sports and you don't see it. You just don't see it. Men are only emotional with men. You don't get emotional with women, no way. That shows a sign of weakness. I'm a man. Yeah. My wife's in charge. So, what I'm trying to say is they need to take a prostate supplement, double, triple it, how much you plan to do. Yes, the nutrients always recycle. The body is a recycling machine. You break down a red blood cell, the liver stores it, recycles the nutrients from the red blood cell. The body recycles everything, even a drop of water. Tremendous recycling machine. So yeah, he's saying there's a benefit from not being a player. You should ask your wife about that. I'm teasing. Yes, you shouldn't be doing all this ejaculation. You're not breeding for your slave master anymore. We just acting like slaves. That's it?
Yeah, when you finish what you're saying, that's it.
Okay. That's it.